I'm going to get a sunburn here this morning. The lights are strong. John, thank you very much for your kind comments. And John and I have been friends for about 10% of my adult life because I turned 60 this year, so almost 5-6 years. But I pick up the waste and recycling in John's neighborhood, and he started stalking me 5 or 6 years ago about my trucks, and we become friends. I look around, everybody up here this morning had a tie, and I drove back to York, and I got up this morning at 5 o'clock, stood in the mirror, and I said, what would Colin Hanna do? What would John Kennedy do? And then I said, what would Fred Anton do? And you know what? I went with Fred. Fred doesn't have a tie on today, so apologize. But anyway, I may be a little wild and crazy this morning. I drove back to York last night. I got up at 5 o'clock this morning, excited to be here, and finished off my comments. I've had 2 cups of regular coffee, got in my Chevy crew cab pickup, and drove close to the speed limit, listening to Prime Country. And you know what? Beautiful day. This is a great day, so I'm fired up, and I'm excited, to see all of you again this morning. And it's been what a ride over the last year. So, and I also want to point out, and the lights are really blinding, but listen, I want to recognize, and I saw this person last night, but I have a personal hero, and I got to know that personal hero back in 2012. And that personal hero, and I don't know where he is, but I'm being blinded right now, Tom Smith. Where's Tom? Okay, where's Tom? And why I tell you that Tom is my personal hero is because this is a man who, if you've ever been out to his property in Western PA, Tom has got the ultimate little compound and tree house out there. And I don't know why you'd ever want to go to Washington, but he ran for the Senate, dumped a tremendous amount of his personal money, and got up in the morning and farmed for an hour or so in the morning, got on a bus, and I participated here in South Central PA, but and I will tell you that although there are many reasons that I am where I am today, Tom is a very key reason because of what he did. So Tom, thank you. It's great to see you again, and let's get started. It's been a year since I've been in the Senate, and I have a lot to tell you, and I know my time's limited, and I probably will go over shortly, but I send out an email blast every 7 to 14 days, and many people in the room get my blast, and I know you forward it on to others. If you don't get it, visit scottwagnerforsenate.com, because we spend a lot of time on those email blasts, and there's a lot of information. So I could stand here for 2 hours and just tell you what we've been doing over the last year. But I can tell you over the last year, we've been very busy. And I say we because I will tell you that I was very lucky. The morning after the special election, I got a call from my political strategist, Ryan Shafiq, and he said, you need to meet Jason High. And Jason is my chief of staff. And in the private sector, he would be my number 2 person, the detail person, the cleanup person. And every serial entrepreneur needs a good number 2 person. So Jason is standing over here to my right. And Jason, if you would stand, this is the guy who's really doing a lot of the cleanup stuff. So, I want to point that out. Patty, I know his head will be swelled up most of the day. Give him a couple Advil and he'll be fine. But real quickly, here's our scorecard, and I say our scorecard because, I go to Jason, I say, Jason, I want to get something done, okay? And how can we do it? And Jason, he figures it out. He's a smart, very, very smart guy. But anyway, when I arrived last April, the Senate had 26 Republicans and 24 Democrats. And what I've learned in the last year is totally mind-boggling. We have 500 school districts, 500 separate union contracts, benefits for teachers and public sector union employees, and also non-union, running between 65 and 95% for every dollar paid in payroll. In the private sector, my company, our benefit package totals around 38%. Private sector, it doesn't exceed 40%. So, I could go on and on and on about what I learned, but today's a beautiful day. It's a Saturday, and I don't want to ruin your day. But anyway, one of our first successes, I went to Jason. I said, Jason, how can we get paycheck protection to the floor? And we ended up getting into a school code bill, leadership couldn't do anything about it. But we got it to the floor, and it was defeated, by, I believe it was 26 to 20. And we had, again, I mentioned there were 26 Republicans. There were 6 of the Republican senators who voted against it. But we got it to the floor. And, the issue that I had with current leadership is we don't do up or down votes. And that's, to me, in my world, let's find out who the real people are, men and women. So I'll tell you that I was part of the leadership change, and we have new leadership. Senator Corman, Senator Scarnati. It's very fresh, and I feel good about what's going on. We were visionaries. Jason and I, with the help of CAP, we were introduced to Senator Bartolotta. We went out to Senate District 46, met Senator Bartolotta, a camera at the time. She was a great candidate, so we ended up helping her financially. She got elected. It was a seat held by the Democrats since 1946, okay? And that's a very, very big deal, okay? And after the leadership change and, helping with the Senator Bartolotta race, and there were some others that we were really not heavily involved in as heavily, Pat Stefano's race, and, there were some other races, but, I now serve on 6 committees. Jason was instrumental in getting me on those committees. I serve as the chair of the Housing and Urban Affairs Committee. I'm the vice chair of Labor and Industry. I'm on Appropriations, Intergovernmental, Law and Justice, and Transportation. And I think as a freshman senator, there's one of two things. They're either trying to bury me, which I don't think is the case, or they think, maybe this guy just isn't so bad after all, and maybe he can read financial statements and there's other things he can do. But, we are so busy right now, we almost don't have time to breathe. But I guess John pointed something out, and I will tell you, this poster is in the front window of the AFL-CIO headquarters. And Rick, if you're out there listening this morning and you're eating your Twinkies at home, I'm flattered by this. This makes my day. This is like the Clint Eastwood moment, okay? But Rick, I have a response for you, and Loman, if you're a technical guy, can put this up. And then the other slide, this is in the front window, and John, can I have this? Because I want to put this. This is my response next week. We want to know, how much does Rick Bloomingdale make? And trust me, if Wendell Young from the Liquor Store Union makes $307, and Tricky Rick is at the top, Tricky Rick is making less than Wendell. So we're going to start exposing these guys, okay? And, Rick, the difference between me and many of the other senators and House members, I already have a great career, and I don't need the money from this job. In fact, at the end of the day, this job's costing me money. If you come to my office, the coffee, water, and everything is paid for by me personally, and I pay my own expenses. I'm not in the pension, not in the health care, and I'm lucky to be in that position. But I will tell you right now, because of this kind of stuff, and people, I'm actually having a really, really fun time. And Rick, the unions are going to become our sport for the next 3 to 4 years. But here's my prediction. I predict that in the next 2 to 3 years, Pennsylvania is going to be the next battleground state with the public sector unions. People wonder why, and I happen to have had the opportunity to be in Pittsburgh 2 weeks ago and participate in a breakfast with 20 other people, and we had breakfast with Governor Walker. And, it was asked, and I've heard this before, why is Wisconsin able to get so much done? Well, it's real simple. Wisconsin Republicans don't take union money. That's real simple, okay? But here in Pennsylvania, at least 50% of our House and Senate members at some point have accepted public sector union money. And it's not good, okay? And Rick Bloomingdale is the president of the AFL-CIO. And if you understand, that's the mothership, PSEA, IBAW. There are a lot of unions underneath that umbrella. But at the end of the day, he represents 800,000 union employees in the state of Pennsylvania. At $750 a year, folks, in dues. And I learned 2 weeks ago that university professors pay more like $1,100, $1,200. But just at $750 times 800,000 members, that's $600 $600 million that they have to play with. That's what we're up against. We have allowed the cancer to spread in Pennsylvania, and it's like we didn't have MRIs, we didn't have radiation, we didn't have chemotherapy. Well, it's time to start using the tools. We got lots of MRIs, we have lots of chemotherapy, we got good surgeons. It's time to cut out the cancer, okay? And I'm telling you, I'm going to be out front. Trust me. This is Clint Eastwood. This is his day. I mean, make my day. And I'm pleased to announce this morning that we are going to enter into a joint venture with Yuengling Brewery, okay, a non-union company that wasn't allowed to serve their beverages at the governor's inauguration. We are going to enter into a joint venture, and we are going to develop a courage drink. And we're going to can it in this size can, and we're going to have free samples down in my office, and we're going to give the House and Senate members to give them courage to vote the right way. Okay? If you've been to my office, and another thing, Jason, there's one thing about, I also have some real estate investments, and one thing about real estate, it's location, location, location. Well, if you walk in the front entrance, go through the security area, the rotunda, the steps, turn left. We're second on the left. And so we're there, and stop by any time. We always have, this is going to be on an easel Tuesday morning. So, and I want the union guys to see it. So let's move on quickly to other things. All curious minds are wondering and asking me, how do I think the governor's budget will fare out? In my opinion, not well. Why? Because the governor's not willing to look at anything that would affect his business partners in Harrisburg. And this is a test. Who are his business partners? Union. There you go. You guys win, okay? So the union folks. And, Governor Wolf is not interested in talking about prevailing wage mandates on school districts at all. In fact, his staff, chief of staff, and I heard, his education secretary say that the governor wants to make sure that we have good paying jobs in Pennsylvania. Well, you know what? If there's a difference between putting a roof on that you could put on without prevailing wage at $82,000 or $84,000, and you have to spend $126 because you have to use prevailing wage mandates, that doesn't make a lot of sense. And oh, by the way, I just recently put Wolf cabinets in a property, and I didn't know they were custom cabinets, and I'm okay, but guess what? They came from Indiana. So, it is what it is. But our Senate priorities are, number one, pension reform, and again, paycheck protection, the union dues deduction. In my world, I'm not playing games anymore that we just take the political share and we not deal with that. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, if unions are creating such great value for their members, send the bill, they'll pay if they're happy. But you know what? They're not happy. And I can tell you a lot of Republicans, a lot of union members are NRA members. They drive pickup trucks, and they have concealed weapons permits, and they're Republicans. And you know what? They are not happy that their union that collects their dues mandatorily automatically out of their paycheck goes to Washington to help get Barack Obama reelected, stuff like that. So prevailing wage elimination, liquor store privatization, all of these are opposed by the public sector unions. I'm going to continue to pound on the table that we don't have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem. And it's clear to me, especially when benefits are running at the rate, and in my last email blast, a corrections officer cost the Commonwealth between $13,000 and $15,000 a year more in benefits than if that person worked in the private sector. Times 15,000, it's almost $250 million more. So, I'm going to continue, and we'll continue to work and build relationships. And Jason and I are spending a lot of time, and Jason especially is working with staff and other offices, not just the Senate and not just the House. Again, I say the Senate leadership change, in my view, has been extremely healthy. So let me wrap up on this point. We need to continue to gain Republican seats in the Senate. We may currently be 30-20, but we still have a number of Republican senators who will not cast a conservative vote or a risky vote. And I'm the cycle chairman for the SRCC. I wasn't asked. I asked Senator Scarnati. Jason and I worked that out, and I am now the cycle chairman for 2 years of the SRCC. And as the chairman, it's my responsibility to recruit conservative and maybe even more ultra-conservative candidates and help fund their races. The bad practice, when I look around the Senate, and I know there's some House members here, you know, we have some senators that came from the House, and I don't think that's a great process for everybody. There are some House members that I think would be great in the Senate, but there are some senators in the Senate that came through the House, and it's just not a good process. So we need to find the best candidates. And, you know, as I look around the Senate, you know, I build a relationship with Don White. Don White is a solid guy. We have Camera, we have Pat Stefano, we have Mike Fulmer, John Eichelberger, Ryan Allment. And there are others that are starting. I mean, they don't know, but we're putting tablets, clear tablets in their water on their desks. It's courage tablets. So we're getting there. But you know, I'm a private sector guy. I started in the waste business 30 years ago. I built 2 companies, and I competed against 2 New York Stock Exchange waste companies, big monster companies. And I thought I sold to one of them, and I made a big mistake. I actually thought because they were bigger, they were smarter. Well, they weren't smarter. They're actually a lot stupider. They just happen to have a lot more money. So, you know, this kind of stuff is wonderful, and it's going to probably get, you know, we have to bring a little humor into the game too. But at the end of the day, it's going to get people paying attention. But again, my task is this is my personal goal. I want to see the Senate 50-0, okay? Not 34, 36. So, you know, my message is if you're a Democrat in the PA Senate, you need to think about retiring, or you need to think about changing careers, because I can tell you right now, after a couple of these races, and especially, you know, Cameron Bartolotta's race out in western PA, and I will tell you, I know this for a fact. I know you're listening out there. There was a deal cut by former Senate leadership and Senate Minority Leader Jay Costa that nobody was going to go after the Solibay seat. Well, guess what? They didn't bank on me. And so, you know, we picked it up, and we have, you know what, if you're a Democrat, you need to be scared, because the SRCC and our momentum is coming. You know, if you know, Olympians don't get out of bed in the morning and say, oh, I want to get up and win the silver, I want to win the bronze. We're going for the gold here, folks, okay? And another challenge that I have is I think we should get the House to 150 to 53, and it's achievable. Because if we get to 34 in the Senate and the House, I don't know the number, but if we could get in the 130s, 140s, somewhere, we can override vetoes of the governor, because we're going to have to put up with this guy for 4 years, okay? So it's time, and if we do that, we can put the wolf in the chicken house, okay? So, you know, again, on the SRCC, we're traveling around the state meeting candidates, and I'm going through exactly the same process I would go through in my companies when I hire a key person. There are many, many candidates, and I'm meeting a lot of wonderful people, but not everybody's cut out for the job, and they need to be told that. And we need people that have courage and that have backbone and are willing to stand up for the people of Pennsylvania. So, here's in closing, I have an offer. If someone refers an outstanding candidate to run against Senate Minority Leader Jay Costa, I'll pay a handsome referral fee. Or if the candidate comes forward and wins, we'll pay you a signing bonus, okay? And here's the message, and I know you guys are watching me. I think we're on PCN. Senate Democrats, we're coming over the hill, and we're going to be taking over your treehouse. Okay? Now, I have one final thing, and I'm going to take 1 minute. We talked about the Supreme Court race. We've identified the unions are a problem in this state. In the Philly.com this week, as Supreme Court race builds, Doherty's coffers grow. And I'm going to, real quickly, a month before the primary election, millions of dollars are flowing into an unprecedented race to fill 3 seats on Pennsylvania's Supreme Court. Topping the money list of the 12 candidates is Philadelphia Common Pleas Court Kevin Doherty. Thanks in part to a group not typically associated with a high court, organized labor, okay? Of the 707,931 he had collected through March, more than half came from laborers and at least came from one union, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. led locally by his politically influential older brother, Johnny Doc, okay? And the judge says, my brother is my brother in an interview. I love my brother. I have the great fortune of having him believe in me and what I stand for. No kidding, okay? But he says that money would not affect how he did his job, okay? My brother has never influenced me on the bench or in any decisions I've made as judge, Doherty said. After 15 years, I've earned the reputation of Judge Kevin Doherty. And finally, there's a quote, and it says, and it goes on about the amount of money. Go on Philly.com and you read this. This is what he says. As a Democrat, his values naturally align with those promoted by unions. My hope and desire is that I have an opportunity to share my views and have people understand what I am and what I stand for. Let me tell you something, folks. If this guy gets elected, you think we got problems now, they're going to get worse. Remember, Doherty, Kevin Doherty, brother of Johnny Doherty, no to the Dohertys, okay? We have great Republican candidates for the Supreme Court. You know, voter ID, we could go on about the problems in the Supreme Court, but I can tell you, we're going to have bigger problems if we have Kevin Doherty. So with that, thank you, and have a great day. And this will be coming out in mass form soon.